Allora, io sono pronto, dunque è mia abitudine fare gli interventi direttamente dal web, però questa volta è una cosa rara, ho fatto un PowerPoint, però è importante che voi sappiate dov'è il materiale sul web. Basta che andate sul web, questa è la mascherina, se voi fate clic qua, cioè o meglio qua, andate a tutto il materiale che noi stiamo presentando. Però per ragioni di tempo I decided to do this in English in order to be helpful with our international guests. How many international guests we have? No, I will do it in English. Perché I want to do it in English because I will be much faster in English than in Italian. Will be recorded in English, and all the captions are in English. And other schools in Italy are already adopted English as the main language, and we must do it quite fast if we want to survive. The other reason to do that is because we are using the website and the internet extensively in order to get the concept across. Okay, so let's do this thing to use this PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so the topic is Urban Green Line, an infrastructure of a new generation in order to invert the direction of the urban development. So this is very important, invert the direction of the development, because we cannot do without development. We have to do development. The problem is in which direction we have to go in order to do this. So the first keyword is infrastructure. The more I'm working on this, is more than 15 years, more or less, that I'm working on Rome, the more I understand that really the key issue is infrastructure. We have to start thinking in order to focus the issue of infrastructure, because development of infrastructure are strictly connected one to the other. We tend to use of infrastructure as the highway, the railways, the path to conquer the West, to go to an infinitive growth. This is an image that everybody knows. This idea that we can conquer the world, that we can expand up to the infinitum in these extended, endless infrastructures. But the thing is that the more we do this, we understood that there is not only that we are eating up, as everybody said so far, very precious agricultural soil, which is one aspect of the problem, but the other aspect of the problem that is really dramatic is that the more we expand, the more leftover spaces we left behind. That's the real issue, very important issue that several people touched. So the more the city expands, the more abandoned land, abandoned sites, abandoned resources we left behind. This is the drama that we are focusing. So we may call these issues brown areas, drawscapes, or urban voids. I tend to use urban voids. So how do we do projects in these empty spaces left over inside the city? We developed these 5 principles that are very important to us. These are 5 principles that guide all the projects that we do. Mixité, what we call driving force, what we call negotiation, what we call infrastructure, and what we call rebuilding nature. All of these are 5 very important principles that creates the structure to do our projects today in the existing city, what we call the urban voids. We've done a lot of work about that. Now, how we go about taking this issue? What is our methodology? What is the methodology that we have been following so far? First of all, is extensive use of resources in the web and in the net. So the first thing that we are using, we are mapping empty sites in the city. Particularly, the project of Urban Green Line is focused on this sector of Rome between Parco di Centocelle and il Parco dell'Appia Antica. So this wedge, and within that we cataloged many urban voids that are belonging to different categories, but there are more than 50, around 50 and 60s, are all empty areas that can activate processes. Now, how we want to do that? We want to do it with a bottom-up process. That means find alliance in the actual territory of the city, using people that are association, individuals, imprenditorial force as clients. When it's possible to find testimonials, and testimonials are key in all the projects of urban impact. Testimonials are key, intellectual, artists, other figures. And then, I put it between parentheses, I put it as lost in Rome administrators. We've been in contact, of course, with the city and with the different people. We have done meetings and Campidoglio Congress, etc., but I still call them lost in Rome administrators, because to me they are lost. But what they are not lost is the process of education that we are trying to get through our student, our graduating student, and some of our PhD students and our assistant. We teach a methodology that is very fundamental for all of them. When they, for example, some of my people have been working with Albisi, just to make an example, and many of our people have been outside, working outside Italy, or in other groups of architects in Italy. They are more engaged with the actual new processes. So we are sure that although our work is not so much interesting for the politics of the city, it's very important for the people that is doing it, because this is the way that today people work around the globe. So what is Urban Green Line? Urban Green Line, for years we've been working on the urban voids. Only in a second phase we realize that we need an infrastructure, because it's the infrastructure the only force that can activate the process of change on the city, can create the economics, can create really the possibility that there is an interest to start to use this urban voice. So it's not only a problem of only bureaucracy, which is very important. It's not only a problem of money. It's not only a problem of imprenditorial force. It's also something that the city must invest strong impact in terms of infrastructure in order to activate the process of rebuilding inside the city. So la mano pubblica, the public interest, must do very important decisions in terms of infrastructures again, but they're infrastructure inside the city, infrastructure that are done to exactly rigenerare la città e rigenerare le periferie. So this is what is Urban Green Line is of course a ring. From a site planning point of view, it is something that intercepts different lines, metro lines, bus lines, etc., railway, but at the same time, it creates that contact so important, that is horizontal contact within two important wedges of the city that I described, is this very large and important urban park. So the way is the infrastructure. We've been working on this project in many different ways. This is the presentation to FEIDAD. We've done books, we've done many things. This is something of the presentation of FEIDAD that a group of people that is working with me, with Davide Motta, Gaetano De Francesco, and many others, and Valerio, many others did. Now, I think it is important to understand how this work is generated. This work is generated through a chair. That is another structure that big research. The chair means that is a teacher, is a couple of assistants, and there are many forces that are the students, the graduation student, and the PhD student. They all work together towards common goals. In order to do that, we create quite a number of publications about this project, particularly this issue of l'Arca and this catalog, which is this one that takes everything. And then there is a map, the page, the Urban Green Line page, the map, and the blog. I just wanted to show you very briefly how the map works, because that is instrumental to understand how the whole thing is activating. So the map is really the instrument, the incremental instrument within which we are exploring the territory, and we actually work on this set of problems. So here are the tags, here are the urban sectors, and then particularly this is the design of the Urban Green Line. If I click on any of these tags, I get the basic information of the urban voids, and this is duplicated for all of them. If I click here, I move from the map to a blog. Okay, I move from the map to a blog, to a specific blog entry, that is the blog entry concerning this area. So you have to understand that we have 50 of these areas, and they've been working on this on here. And here we said that there are 2 projects or 3 projects that have been done during the year in this particular area. And if we click here, we go and see the whole story of the project that it is has been done there. So, okay, in this case, the guy didn't work it well anymore. Generally, this happens because they didn't get enough high grades. But anyway, so anyway, this is the system that the system works, and that is duplicated more than 300 times. Now let's move fast in order to get an idea. Okay, let's back here. Okay, now what is the algorithm that we move this Urban Green Line? So I write it so it's sure what is the algorithm. It says the more the city develops outward, taking over permanently precious and vital soil, more abandoned and useless lands are left behind. To stop the use of precious soil outside the city, we have to use abandoned area inside the city. But in order to move energy towards the use of abandoned areas in the city, we have to create infrastructures of a new generation for the inner city that are based on 5 principles. To each of these principles, there is written a test, an article, and many things. In order of time, I just can tell what are the 5 principles behind an infrastructure of a new generation in our experience. The first principle is that an infrastructure inside the city of a new generation must be multitasking. That means that must do a lot of things at the same time. The idea of the monotasking infrastructure is completely gone, and today lots of things are multitasking. Just imagine of our computer how many things does together, and the same thing must happen today for a modern infrastructure. Must do a lot of things together, so must be multitasking. The second principle is once we create an infrastructure, it must participate to a new understanding of ecological principle within the city, must create green systems. We've seen the presentation of Alessandra, for example, and also of Domizia. In both cases, we saw exactly this thing, that the new infrastructure also creates green systems, actually very advanced in terms of water and other things. So this is the second principle. The third principle that is very, very important is that we'll be absolutely crazy today thinking of an infrastructure without thinking very importantly of the issue of how information technology will impact on that. And will be not only the level, the very basic level of information flow and things like that, but much more complex, how really the city, through information technology, can react, interact, be interactive, even in moments of big crisis. So this is a very important issue, and we call the article about this La schiuma che informa, because the idea of the foam is very important within this concept, because it's something that is in a state ready to be activated. But The fourth concept, very important, is what we call slowscape. New infrastructures must create also a new level of appreciation of the mean of transportation. So there is not only a mechanical idea, but also an idea that basically the way to go starts to be important again. And we call this slowscape. And then the fifth, that is very important, very, very important, is that there is a high symbolical meaning behind infrastructure. Always has been like that. Infrastructures are a condenser of public meaning, of public forces, of public hope. So if we don't tackle this issue, we cannot have the energy to move all these things together. And this is what exactly I've been doing all around the world in doing new infrastructure. This is one of the last, is Rio Manzanares in Madrid. Is completely a place that had no meaning for the city, has been completely changed and really create una galvanizzazione delle energie that is very, 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 very important. That Rome actually, as many, many things, is the capital of that, because we have Piano Sistino, we have Via Veneto, we have so many things that have, even Viale Belle Arti, all the things that we have behind us is like this. Very, very quickly, just some design, just to give you an idea how things move. More or less, we've done 300 projects around this area, and probably 50 or 60 are in the catalogs. I'll show you something very simple and just to give you an idea, because everything ends up in architectural choices, in architectural actions. So I show you a sector of the urban green line that is the sector in which the urban green line arrived to the Via Casilina and arrived to something that we discovered, but of course other people know, through a part of an abandoned railway that Mussolini built in the 30s and was abandoned. So part of the green line used this abandoned railway. By the way, the railway is that one when hanno trovato il magazzino della droga 2 anni fa, but underground. But by the way, so in all this area, we see 5 or 6 projects interrelated to each one, because our process is similar to the way that the city moves. We have real great idea and great principle, then we do one project, we think that that's it as built, and then we add the second one. Imagine the first one as built. So it's an incremental approach, and it's the way that the city goes. This is a project underground in the abandoned line of Mussolini, in which urban green line runs. Si fa un museo del tram here and an access out of the park, because there is a stop of the urban green line there. All the projects are mixité, and in this particular case, there is a whole search, of course, that goes about this idea of mutation of the section. We've been working a lot with Via Cave, etc., but I will not go into that. This is another project close by in the area Abdoulas Lauros. The name of the designers are always here, so you can see this, Denis Franzé. What is, in this case, what is the idea? Here there are the catacombs that are open only once a year, a park behind, and the Mausoleo di Sant'Elena that our colleague Roberto Secchi restored. But the whole area is completely underutilized still today. The idea is to move up the layer of the catacomb, imagining that this is something that you don't see comes up and creates the structure of a new design. The new design is very important from a program standpoint. It's a little campus to the study of archaeology and to study restoration, and also to give access of the catacomb behind. Just imagine 1 second from an economical point of view in a city of Rome acting like this in an area like this. What does it mean economically? The type of forces that creates and the type of circle that it creates instead of this immobility that we are there. So, and then it happens a design that is that one. This is the park itself, which has a very interesting idea, as you're going to see in 1 second. Il Parco di Centocelle, which is actually a pretty big disaster, as you know. The student that has been working on that, Antonio De Pasquale, is a fanatic of aeronautic, and he wanted to have this because he wanted to find an idea that has to do something with aviation, aviazione, for the simple reason that il Parco di Centocelle was the first airport in Rome, where the Fratelli Baracca, so for a people that is into aeronautic, that is a sacred space. Fratelli Wright, i Fratelli Baracca, mi sono inventato una figura spazio-temporale meravigliosa. Ok. So here it is. This is a rather interesting part because what he does, he creates a structure that you saw before, that is this line that connects the park with a series of things that are around. So a kind of a spider that attaches itself to different parts of the context and connects different projects, but particularly he has some of the existing archaeological sites, and he creates also a place for un dirigibile, un Led Zeppelin, that starts from here and creates another ring of the city, starting from here, creating another ring. Again, making system of many different things. 2 projects in the field of information technology architecture, so you understand also this part, why and in which terms this urban structure, this infrastructure has to do something with information technology and with technology. Just to make an example, I just showed 2 projects. This one is called Rama, la rete tranviaria come ossigenatore urbano. What is the idea? The idea is that the tram goes around in circle and goes in some areas of very low density park, like this one that we just saw, and in other part of high density with high pollution. This means that in the area of low density, you can put in culture a system like algae or other things like that, but particularly there are species of algae that creates a lot of oxygen by square meters. So you can cultivate oxygen over there in these ponds in the low rise, in the low density, and using the tram as a real transporter of oxygen, and put the oxygen in the highest part of the city or a higher density in this type of canopy, and release the oxygen when it's needed. So this is an idea to show you how technology, information technology, and systematic thinking, circular thinking can be very important. All these things, we saw the sky things of the big, all these things start to become normal within smart cities, within new technology. So it's absolutely normal that our students start to use technology and ideas in this direction. In Rome, I think that at this point, I think that we are more than behind, really, but we don't know, but probably we never know what happens. This is another project of another PhD student that is here, Gaetano, and again with Antonio De Pasquale. They are using another technology that has been developed in Japan. I'm finishing 2 minutes. And this technology is that one that the sound can create energy. If you think it's something very simple, because the sound are wave-based, so if you have a technology that this wave can be activated in special panel, the noise will create energy. So out of this idea, instead of putting those ridiculous sound barriers, monotasking, and beside that really horrible, here we have sound barriers that actually create energy. It can be, of course, also reshaped interactively, as you can see here. Okay, so this is it. This is the urban green line. I think we are done within 22 minutes, which was pretty good. Okay.
Allora, ringrazio il professor sinergie a su larga scala, su come applicare tutti questi studi che sono veramente molto interessanti, tantissimi. E do la parola alla professoressa Laura Pepetti, Barbara Pepetti, il nostro no, bisogna ricollegare il computer perché avete la posso dare un po'. Grazie.
Sì, ti prego, internazionalizziamoci.
Laura. No, guarda, lo sai comunque dobbiamo costruire, perché io temo che prima che lo prendiamo piano piano io lo voglio verificare.
Lo stiamo perdendo piano piano, di fatto.